What is going on, X community? Exosomp here, and today, people, we're going to be going over week number 6 of the EDL for power rankings. Joining me is, of course, as usual, Rabambi Teacher.
What's going on, guys? Rabambi Teacher in the house, and this week, Exo tried really hard to get rid of me. He even locked me in his garden shed. The unfortunate thing is, there's a window on there with a safety latch, which I was managed to get off, and even my fat fucker body managed to get out the window. Sorry, guys, I'm still here.
Guys, look, I'm trying, alright? I'm trying real hard, but he just keeps finding a way out. Maybe next time, alright? Anyways, so, yeah, basically what happened this week is, again, there was a lot of, I do want to mention this, of course, before, there was a lot of people that didn't play their games. If you aren't playing your games, like, please do, because it sort of takes the fun out of the whole league if you're not playing your games. And if you're not having fun anymore, let me know. We can find replacements. But yeah, this is just a public service announcement, all right?
Especially as we're at the business end of the regular season now. There are teams that actually have playoff spots to fight for. Like, even if you're statistically out of playoffs at this point, at least play, because you might accidentally affect someone else.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, moving on to, I guess, number 10 then. We have Kink Kings. So, their game was pretty interesting. They were versing one of the better teams in the league. And they were just they just winged it last minute. Rabbit was like, alright, I'm going to throw some random things together. And there was one set that was really interesting that I think could have worked. And that was actually the Klefki set. Could have worked if the burn didn't happen, I guess that maybe. And then also, if like he got 2 iron defenses off instead of the calm mines, that also may have worked a little bit better. But yeah, Zeraora and Starmie, it was really hard to break through them for the Kink Kings. So yeah, they just they took a 5-0 this week.
As a 4, yeah.
Was it 4-0?
Yeah, as a 4. Although technically, I think they probably would have been DQ'd anyway because the Hydreigon Dynamaxed.
Oh yeah, that's why. So it's a 5-0 because that didn't count.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I did wonder, but yeah, it's definitely kind of a fun match. It's always fun watching the Kink Kings play, especially when they do random throw togethers. There's never a dull moment when Rabbit's around. Actually, there were a couple of moments in the game where I thought they might have had a chance, but then I realized they had a Clobberburst, so they didn't really have much of a chance. But it was pretty funny seeing it anyway. The circle throw didn't miss this time. For those who remember week 1, of course, when it did miss. This time around it didn't, but it didn't matter anyway, because it just brought in a Starmie, which murdered half of a team. So, yeah. They have families, Starmie. Come on, man. You need to chill.
Yeah, yeah, this game, again, if you guys don't know, Kink Kings like to, spice it up, and it's really interesting to watch. Even if they're going serious one week, it's still pretty interesting to watch, like Rosary with Swords Dance, or like a Torkoal with freaking Curse, stuff like that. Like, that's just so interesting to me. I don't know. It may just be me, but
yeah. I do like watching fun stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, moving on to, well, your team, Team Rabombat X. So, why don't you start with this one?
Yeah, so this was gonna be an interesting game either way. We had a pretty tough matchup. We had some moments where we actually could have big brained a way out. We actually had one play that we could have done after we Trick Roomed with Orbeetle. We actually could have U-turned out, predicting the Sableye switch, but the unfortunate thing is, I don't think even if we did play that, we had enough outs to just get through everything in the end. We did get a little unlucky on one of the Trick Room turns. Our Flare Blitz min-rolled the Sableye, which definitely sucked. But even with that not min-rolling, and we do actually kill the Sableye first time, I think we were still 1-1 short of winning the game 1 turn off. So, yeah, it was a very, very tough game. Unfortunately, we got the wrong end of it, but it was definitely a very back and forth game.
Okay. Yeah, in the end, Excadrill just sort of won. I mean, against your team, it does make sense just looking at your lineup. It was pretty Excadrill weak. I mean, you got the Keldeo, which, you know, it's not weak against Excadrill, but against like a, let's just say an Earthquake, it does do a decent amount. Clefable dies to Iron Head and, you know, Marowak, Earthquake, stuff like that. So it was definitely going to be really hard for you guys to win this match, especially again against an Excadrill. But you know, you got 3 kills, so it's not the worst.
Yeah, and I say there's a lot. Like a 3-0 loss in a bad matchup, or like a net negative matchup, actually isn't the worst in the world. Obviously, it sucks because it puts us out of playoff spots, but you know, we're not out of playoffs yet. You know, if we win one of our next 2 games, I'm pretty sure we're in. So, it does make things interesting. It does suck that we have to play you guys in the Rowdy Rillabooms, which, you know, not exactly the teams you want to face at the business end of a season, but nonetheless, gonna be fun anyway.
Yeah, this is coming down to the wire. Basically, this is gonna test your strength. I mean, I don't know. Look, as long as I don't drink before the match, I think this is gonna be a good match. All right, Solo might have to carry me a bit if I do drink, but you know, we'll see.
Solo carrying you with that team.
Yes.
Do you have any idea how oxymoronic that sounds? I'm sorry, Solo. I'm just saying this is not a you team.
Oh, he knows. Yeah, it's gonna.
All
be
we need
fun.
to do is get so angry. We just need one random crit out of the middle of nowhere, and then we win.
That's gonna happen now. Why'd you say that?
Because that's what I want to happen, so we win.
Okay.
What else you want me to say?
Well, alright, I guess you're right. Alright, well, coming in at number 8, we have a forfeit win, but yeah, this was against Storm, Foreign, Tara. Yeah, that's what their name.
I mean, that's the best you've said it, so I'll let you have that one.
Alright, good. So, yeah, they sort of dodged this week. It was a little sad, but I did talk to them, or at least Denny, and so that they're, you know, they don't want to dodge. It's not like they just been really busy. So I understand that. Some of the teams at the bottom that you guys have seen, I don't want to name names, but some of them are dodging. I feel like on purpose. So hopefully they actually play their games.
I feel like Kamba and I beat one of the teams way too hard, and now they haven't played a match since.
Maybe.
But I'm not saying who, because we ain't about that life.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the Bodacious Barachis, a team that was last, I'm pretty sure, for like the first 3 or 4 weeks. They're now in 7th. They're in playoffs right now. So, I mean, yes, they did verse the Houston Helios this weekend. Yeah, they're sort of memeing. Honestly, though, the Bodacious Barachis would have lost if the Houston Helios didn't press Rain Dance on the Palpitoad. I thought that was a huge throw because Arcanine destroys their team. I mean, all they had to do was press Morning Sun, but once that Rain Dance went up, there was no way they could press Morning Sun and get more than 25 HP left. So it was a bit of a throw. I will say that, like, again, they could have won with Arcanine, but I don't know. I mean,
it was and it wasn't a throw because they still had to get through Lycanroc, which Arcanine couldn't beat. So I guess they thought they were going to be able to win with the Palpitoad, but it didn't look like a win to me, especially with Noivern still hanging around.
I think if they kept the Palpitoad around and not pressed Rain Dance yet, if they kept it around for the Lycanroc, they still could have won.
Yeah, I don't know if Palpitoad gets Ice Beam. I'm actually just going to look that up.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I'm just thinking, how on earth does this thing beat a Noivern? I mean, its only ice move looks like Icy Wind.
Hey man, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, sure, 55 base power. 95% accurate, so knowing them, they probably would have missed it.
Maybe.
I'm joking, but nah. Saying that though, I think the Barachis did actually play this relatively well. They pretty much played to their win condition, which is what you expect them to do. They had a couple of odd negative moments. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not exactly their own fault. There's no way they're ever going to predict Toxic Infestation Gudra for the Necrozma. It was actually very smart from the Helios to put that together, but yeah, ultimately, they did enough. They did all they had to do against a team that was somewhat out there, for sure. But yeah, they did what they had to do. They got themselves into a playoff spot. Good on them. Keep it going.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like, honestly, at this point, you just want to be in playoff range because the race right now is actually really close. Like, if you get a win or a loss, it's huge. So yeah, guys, make sure that you win at least one of your last two games if you're in playoffs. Like, and you're still holding on, just like the next team, which is mine and Solo's. Because if we lose the last one or even the last two in general, we might not make it, which is gonna be scary. But this week is gonna be easy for us. So anyway.
In a parallel universe, wait, what?
Wow. Okay, well.
I mean, it is a Titanic match though, but let's go on to this week first. Obviously, I'm gutted. A Rabombi team lost. Always makes me disappointed when I see my mascot losing. But no, when you're facing off the number one team, you could definitely be forgiven for expecting to lose this one. They do have a lot of threats and they are pretty fast. But it was kind of interesting to me that actually their MVP for me was actually the Hitmontop. Hitmontop actually did so much work. They got so much value out of it, picking up 2 kills, almost 3 kills actually, doing a huge dent to the X-Plow before eventually going down. Definitely scary. But for you guys, yeah, I did like the early webs, but ultimately that Azumarill you kind of didn't really have a good answer for, and that's kind of what caused you a lot of issues. And then the Mandibuzz just going down for nothing. You know, that's always a feel sad, man, when you see that happen. But yeah, I feel for you. I don't feel like you really had much for this matchup. And you kind of never really were allowed to play the game, in all honesty.
Yeah, we had to prep for like 8 threats on their team because they have 8 threats, which is very hard because we were expecting Dragapult because, like, why wouldn't you bring a Dragapult against, like, a Gengar and all that? But I guess it makes sense because of Mandibuzz. It's just, I don't know. It's so hard to prep for that team because, again, there's so many threats that you can't really predict exactly what they're going to bring because they could bring whatever the hell they want and they'll still run through your team. So,
I mean, their lost condition is bringing the wrong 6. Right, if you guess the right 6 and know how to play against it, then you beat them. But the problem is, how'd you guess the right 6? And that's their big issue. But who knows? They play the Rowdy Rillabooms this week, so that is number 1 v number 2.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where they go from there. Do they keep this win streak going, or do the Rillabooms finally topple them? I'll be interested to see how they actually deal with Rillaboom. Rillaboom is kind of annoying. For their team, except for Cinderace. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm definitely interested to see what they bring next. But for you guys, of course, you guys are going to get handed a pretty big loss this week.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
Against Gambit and me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a Titanic match, though. There are 4 very good players in that game. Like, there's no, like, one obvious weak link, like, between the 4 of us. I think the only thing that stands against you guys is, you know, how this is more of a you team, you know, or you and Transfer team. I don't know how well Solo's going to be able to play this with you. Be interesting to see what kind of dynamics happen.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
Because you know one thing is going to be the case, that Cambat and I aren't going to tilt. So that's the hard part. Like, we both have pretty good mental, so...
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to number 5, we have Spooky Burger. We sort of talked about them already with King Kings because they versed them this week. Again, the Zeraora and Starmie, they didn't really have many answers for them on the King King side. So they sort of just were able to do whatever they wanted. Some of the Pokemon I don't even think made it out. I think it was mainly just
P2 and Surfetched didn't see the field. The other four ordered.
Yeah, so Zeraora,
Starmie did most of the work with 2 moves. So
yeah, yeah, Kings were definitely memeing, and I would have hoped for maybe a little bit more memes on the Spooky Burger side, especially when you're using Kings. But you want to make playoffs, so I do understand why they definitely tried pretty hard this game, and
I mean, both teams still had something to fight for, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, well, moving on to the top 4. Again, they haven't really moved. I will like to mention that, like, I believe 3, 4, and even 5 are, they do share the same differential, but, well, for my own sake, I didn't want to really move everything until it all evens out. Plus, it's just easier to, leave the top 4 here because they technically didn't really drop yet. So, until that happens, we'll see. But number 4, we have Launching Dragapults. Launching Dragapults. Yeah, so this was against you, I believe.
Yes, it was. They played us.
Yeah, so the Excadrill, like I said, had a really good matchup. They just, in general, they had a pretty decent matchup against you guys because the Excadrill, again, they brought Smooth Rock Tyranitar, which means Excadrill could sort of do what it wants for like 8 turns, which is pretty scary for your team.
Yeah, I mean, like we kind of alluded to, Trick Room was kind of our win condition this game. We kind of potentially threw Keldeo early. It was difficult. But yeah, I was a bit surprised to see a couple of their mons come. But having seen the comp and actually having watched the match back, I can kind of understand why they brought the 6 they did. But yeah, generally speaking, if we tried to Galaxy Brain with Orbeetle after setting Trick Room, I mean, we almost did it. We caught them completely off guard. They didn't even see the Trick Room coming. I think they just expected us to die. But the fun little fact for you, the Orbeetle actually, with the body press, with the EV spread we had, actually would not have killed the Tyranitar. So they actually could have won without even going into Sableye, but they had no way of knowing that. But yeah, our only win con was to U-turn, predicting the Sableye switching on the body press, but even then, I don't think we had enough turns in our favor. But it was a tough game, though. They played very, very well. In fact, both teams played pretty well, to be fair. Just rolls didn't go our way. A couple of things didn't happen for us, and they got a couple of outplays on us. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it was basically just a whole thing of weather versus Trick Room, and it's really hard to break through a sand team with Excadrill.
It can be, yeah, it can be. We did actually have low kick on a Lolowak, so we did actually have a fun little Tyranitar breakthrough, especially once we knew they were Smooth Rock and not Chople.
Okay.
So we did have a way through potentially, but I don't think we could have beaten the Primarina plus the Excadrill, so it would have been like a 1 or 2-0 loss for us either way, because of how well they played early on.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely fair. Their team, they're in the top 4, so all these teams in the top 4 are extremely hard to break through, so any team that is versus them, at least for this week and onward as well, I guess for the last 2 weeks, watch out, because they are playing very well, all 4 of these teams. Moving on to number 3, it's Primal Pythons. They versus Sandy Snails, the bottom seed, pretty sure. But they did. Sandy Snails do have 2 new coaches, and we could see that through not getting the biggest loss. They could have won. I believe they said that, or the Primal Pythons, I think, said that they could have won. But yeah, speaking about the Primal Pythons, the Crawdaunt put in a ton of work. The Ludicolo actually was a really annoying thing for the Sandy Snails. I think they may have misplayed the Melmetal going straight into it on the Ludicolo when they had like a Mienshao that outsped, and even like the Tangrel that could live in Ice Beam and can hit it back. I don't know if sacking the Melmetal there was the best thing, but hey, the Primal Licupydons, they played to their Rincon, which was, I guess, Crawdaunt, and yeah, they played well.
Yeah, I feel like the Snails had a bit of a hard choice because I don't think Melmetal really won the game for them at the point they were at when they sacked it. I think they felt like Mienshao was probably their best bet, which, to be fair, it did come pretty close. They also probably wouldn't have wanted to risk a Scald Burn, assuming the Mienshao lived or whatever, which would have hampered their win condition. So it was a tough one for them either way. They kind of were stuck between, like, taking the lesser of two evils, and when a team, and especially as strong as the Licupydons, this rain team is just going to get going, yeah, I don't see a way back. It's literally a pain train that just never stops rolling. Especially with a Crawdaunt. Even when it gets burned, it still murks things. It's disgusting.
Yeah, Crawdaunt is... unless I could think of another, I guess maybe Urshifu. I was gonna say it's like the best physical water type to just click buttons with, because with adaptability you could just, oh my god, it's such a scary Pokemon.
It's like depending on format, obviously, because Mega Swampert is just as brutal at its best and stuff like that. But yeah, Crawdaunt is just terrifying if you don't know how to play against it.
Yeah. Moving on to the second place team. They did get a forfeit win. They didn't get any differential because at Beanie Slaves, I believe that both of them put in a decent amount of effort, but I think the Rowdy Rillabooms asked to play, and I think yet again, I just want to mention this, Panda was playing Among Us and forgot to play the game. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, they did still technically win, so they still are in the number 2 spot. So yeah.
Yeah, not very much to say, unfortunately, except I think Panda vented an electrical.
Yeah, he probably did.
Man, can't vent into electrical into security, man. That's just wrong. I was watching the cams.
Yeah. You're watching. Wait a minute.
Oh dear, we've been playing Among Us way too much.
Okay, putting the number 1 spot, of course, it's nothing that has changed. The Missing No Bros. Like we said before, with the matchup, it was extremely tough because of prepping wise. Like, how do you prep for a Dragapult, a Cinderace, and a Azumarill, a Porygon Z? Like, freaking even Vikavolt is really annoying. Like, how do you prep for all these freaking Pokemon? And then that wasn't even the problem. The Hitmontop destroyed us. Like, what the hell? So, yeah, it was such a weird matchup because of prepping wise. Like, it was really weird and really hard to prep for. But still, me and Solo had some fun with it. I'll probably leave the video either down below, or I'll leave it at the end of the video. But yeah, I think this game was super fun to play, even if we got a 4-0 loss. And Missing No Bros, they played very well, so I don't mind losing to them.
Yeah, exactly. I will say this, pretty much every time their loss condition is getting too cocky, or like having nothing to play for, because right now I'm pretty sure they're locked into playoffs. I don't think anybody can stop that now, so yeah, they can pretty much have fun the last 2 weeks. They don't even have to play the last 2 weeks and they'll still make playoffs. But they should play this week because it's a Rowdy Rillaboom's game and I want to watch it.
Oh yeah, they're 100%. Both of the teams are going to play this because I think they want to be lossless, like both teams. So
they want to duke it out to be undefeated.
Yeah.
Although if the Rowdy Rillabooms do win, they lose their week 9 game. They're both teams are 1 loss anyway.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I'm totally not being biased because their week 9 opponent is me and Cambit.
That's true. That's gonna be Oh, I think
That'll
for
be
this,
fun because
yeah.
that's a scenario where it plays out where if Kamba and I beat you two, then we can actually really put a game of it against the Rillaboons. But if we lose to you, then we can just meme it up.
Yeah,
So,
we'll
it's
see.
a fun scenario that could happen.
Hey,
So I'm excited either way.
you might beat the Rowdy Rillabooms. Who knows?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's so many scenarios that can still play out here. That's what makes the Lenses season fun.
Yeah. But that is it for the power rankings, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you guys enjoyed, of course, smack that like button. Just smack it. It's into that kind of stuff. Anyways, so yeah. Good luck for week number 7, and yeah. Ramami, do you have anything else to say?
As always, guys, make sure you play your games and not play Among Us. Stay safe, stay awesome, and we'll catch you guys next week after Exo's tilted out of his face. Take care.
Yeet.